Kickoff in Lexington is just around the corner, and these are my game-by-game predictions for the Kentucky Wildcats this season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, where we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. Kickoff is quickly approaching for the Kentucky Wildcats. Year 13 of Mark Stoops is on the horizon. Where's the optimism? Where's the juice? Where's the excitement? That is the big question heading into kick. Today, guys, I'm going to lock in my game-by-game predictions for Kentucky. As we first, guys, take a look at the FanDuel odds. Make sure you sign up at FanDuel.com/SECU to place your bets. Our friends at FanDuel have the over-under win total for Big Blue Nation set at just 4.5. The over at -106. The under at -114. So again, you think about some of the tempered expectations, which I think we all know it's very obvious at this point. The expectations are tempered for Kentucky this year, coming off a 4-8 campaign in 2024, but just 4.5 in Vegas, quite a low number. And again, a big year for Mark Stoops potentially. Does he need to more than likely hit that over 4.5 to return as Cats head coach in 2026? Guys, that being said, we're going to pull up Kentucky's schedule here as I go game by game, and we will start in week number 1, where Kentucky welcomes the Toledo Rockets to Lexington. And guys, let me tell you this. I stared at this one for a long time. I got to be totally honest with you. What a tone setter this would be for the game-by-game predictions if I was going with the upset. And a little fun fact for those of you tuned in. My boldest pick of the 2024 college football season, and the boldest pick, I should say, that I got right. I made some other bold predictions, but they did not come true. The one that I took most of a flyer on that I got correct, early in the 2024 season, I actually picked Toledo straight up to beat Mississippi State. And you guys may recall, not only did they beat Mississippi State, they boat raced them. I mean, the game I think was like 28-0 or 28-6 or something at halftime. Game was never close. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here. But I'll tell you this, if you're a Cats fan, do not be surprised if you see a lot of people picking Toledo in this football game. I think this is going to be one of the more sexier upset picks of week 1. People are very down and out on Kentucky, as we all know, and I think there's some justification to that. Questions all over the field. A quarterback in Zach Calzada that I'm not sure many people believe in. A defense that's completely retooled after losing guys to the NFL. That being said, I am giving you the win here in week 1 against Toledo. When everyone else zigs, I do my best to zag, and I just don't feel confident in going back to the well and picking Toledo for a second straight season to get a SEC win. I think the fact that we're talking about this game with the severity at which we are, and by the way, let me give all the credit in the world of Toledo. This is a Toledo team that you look at some college football playoff projections, a lot of people have Toledo as the champion of the G5. So this is not some scrub G5 team, your run-of-the-mill G5 or non-conference opponent, your cupcake to ease into the season. If Kentucky does not play good football, they will lose this football game. Not can, they will lose this football game. I think after an offseason of all the noise, I actually do think the Cats come out, play well, at least play well enough to avoid the upset. Kentucky starts the season at 1-0. You then open up SEC play week 2 as the Ole Miss Rebels come to town. Lane Kiffin and company, old hottie toddy looking for revenge after last year. Guys, simply put, and I know there's been some Kentucky fans playing with the idea of beating them back-to-back years and the potential upset. And I respect everyone's picks, by the way. That said, though, if there's one game that Ole Miss is going to win this season, it's this one. And Ole Miss, they will score 100 if they can. I think there's obviously still some very negative emotions because of what happened last year. There's some very bad blood. I mean, this was the game essentially for Ole Miss that kept them out of the college football playoff, kept them from reaching their goals. I'll tell you this. If Kentucky beats Ole Miss for a second straight year, it ain't going to be because the Rebels were overlooking Kentucky. Like, they're not going to tell you they have this game circled, but I can assure you, Lane Kiffin, the Rebels, they've got this game circled. Guys, I think Ole Miss is going to win this football game, and I think Ole Miss is going to win this football game big. I think they're going to win it big out there at Kroger Field. Guys, week 3, Kentucky jumps back out of conference. You got Eastern Michigan at home, ho-hum. This should not be that big of a deal. Shouldn't be that much of a sweat. Probably a great game to get some of your backups in. I think Kentucky will win this game comfortably to bounce back and go to 2-1, sitting at 0-1 in SEC play. Then the bye week comes, kind of an early bye week. After the third week, you get that bye week ahead of the showdown at South Carolina to close out the month of September. Guys, this is one that I will say this. This Kentucky-South Carolina series is very underrated, right? The Mark Stoops, Shane Beamer kind of quote-unquote rivalry, if you will. It's a pair of head coaches that do not like each other. Kentucky's had a lot of success in Columbia, South Carolina, admittedly. They did lose there the last time they went. But if you look at that series all throughout the mid-2010s, going in the late 2010s, and even early 2020s, Kentucky had a ton of success. But why was Kentucky beating South Carolina like a drum on a yearly basis? It's because they were the more physical team at the point of attack. Yearly, Kentucky was whipping South Carolina in the trenches. And I mean, this is why Kentucky had a lot of success, period. But especially against the Gamecocks, I just don't think Kentucky's that team anymore. I don't think they have that big blue wall to lean on. South Carolina, on the other hand, they've got their own questions on the offensive line for sure, but I think defensively, they've still got a lot of physicality up front. Dylan Stewart, I think, wreaks havoc in this football game. Heck, they may have the most physical player on the field in Loris Sellers, the way he plays the game. Going to Columbia is just too much. I think the idea of pulling an upset at Williams-Brice Stadium is probably far-fetched. Granted, South Carolina, you want to catch them, number one, early in the season, and number two, the Gamecocks seem to always have one of those games they just play poorly. They stub their toe. It would take South Carolina playing with a C-, D+ effort and Kentucky playing near probably an A+ effort, I think, for this to happen. I've got South Carolina winning this football game, handing you your second SEC loss, now sitting at 3-2, 0-2 in conference play. Guys, then you go to Georgia. Between the hedges to kick off the month of October. Listen, I get that this game was really, really close in Lexington. Kentucky, Georgia, weirdly enough, is a pretty closely contested battle when it comes to Kroger Field. In Athens, not so much. I think Georgia wins this one running away. I think it's no nonsense. I think they got the backups in the second half. You just don't have the horses in the stable to go to Athens and go toe-to-toe with the Dogs, a Dogs team that I think, again, is going to make the college football playoff, a team that I'm really high on. Into the month of October, Gunnar Stockton's probably really finding his footing by this point. The Georgia offense has a big day. I think defensively, they're going to eat you alive. I just don't think Kentucky has a response. I think this one is a wide margin of defeat to drop Kentucky to 2-3, 0-3 in SEC play. You then host Texas at home the following week after a bye week, I might add. So Kentucky will have the bye before they face the Longhorns. Guys, getting Georgia and Texas back-to-back is just flat out cruel. Like, the SEC was cruel for this. Yeah, they gave you the bye week, but still, Georgia, Texas back-to-back, I think it's more the same of what happened in Athens. Listen, weird stuff can happen in Lexington, don't get me wrong. Texas is just so supremely talented, more talented than you are. I think Texas wins it. I think Texas wins it big. Kentucky dropping to 2-4, 0-4 in SEC play. Then you get Tennessee at home. Now, I think this is a really interesting game, and I think this is a game that could serve as an upset opportunity for the Wildcats. Even with that being said, I can't go there yet. I'm not able to go there. I think at this point, again, I think Joey Aguilar, for everything I don't think he is, I think at this point in the season, the offense is clicking for them. Running game is probably operating at a high level. I still just think defensively, I don't think with Zach Calzada at quarterback, your lack of weapons, I don't think you're going to be able to do enough. This is probably a low-scoring, kind of sloppy game, ugly game. It won't be a candidate for game of the year by any means, but I do think Tennessee is able to go into Lexington and do guys, what they always seem to do, which is beat Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky just does not beat Tennessee flat out, right? So I don't think that changes this year. I think Tennessee gets the win. That would drop Kentucky to 2-5, 0-5 in SEC play. You then travel the following week to the Plains against Auburn. Now, what in the world is Auburn? That's a great question. I mean, heck, I don't like the stuff coming out of fall camp right now, guys. I mean, I'm like, is it too late to change my pick? I know it's not, but it appears to be complete dysfunction. I'm still going to give Auburn the nod here just because, again, it is at Jordan-Hare, and the simple fact, guys, that I just think Auburn top to bottom roster-wise, I mean, they would just have to have a complete meltdown. Give me the Auburn Tigers. I think they get the win. It was a really hard-fought win for Auburn last year against Kentucky. I wouldn't be surprised if it was close, but I do think Auburn at home, supremely talented roster. I think they're able to come out of that one with a victory. You then host the Florida Gators. And again, that loss to Auburn would drop you to 2-6, 0-6 in SEC play. Is Mark Stoops still the head coach at this point? I think that's actually a great question. But I got you 2-6, 0-6. You then you take on the Florida Gators at home. Guys, a similar situation. Like that's the tough thing is like, could Kentucky pull an upset here or anywhere throughout the schedule? Sure. But like, name me a spot where they're going to even be even on the talent level. Like there's just not many of them, right? So again, I got Florida winning this football game. I think Florida actually, there's going to be a deeper motivation here because the last time Florida went to Lexington, guys, you might recall, Kentucky boat raced them. I mean, Ray Davis ran all over them. I think he ran for like 250 by himself. Game wasn't close. Billy Napier is going to want to get back in this one. I think Florida's overall team morale is still really high at this point. I think they're probably fighting for a college football playoff spot. Again, at this point, what is Kentucky playing for? I think Florida will be able to go in there to Lexington and get the win and get some revenge for what happened in 2023. Then finally, some relief. You jump back out of conference play when you take on Tennessee Tech. I don't think that'll be much of an issue. Again, the question is Mark Stoops still the head coach after a 2-7 and 0-7 start in SEC play? I do think you get your third win of the season. Again, of course, it coming in non-conference when you take down Tennessee Tech. So that gets you to 3-7, 0-7 in SEC play. Then you travel to Nashville to take on Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt Commodores. This is your best shot at a win. This is your best shot, in my opinion, at a conference win. I think it'd still be considered an upset. Kind of curious to see what Vandy's going to be on their end, but this is your best shot to do it. I don't think you will. I think Vandy will have the best player on the field that day in Diego Pavia. I trust in Diego Pavia more than anything Kentucky's got, but this is your best shot. That drops you to 3-8, 0-8 in SEC play. And finally, guys, at Louisville. Louisville's just in a better spot than you. I know this is a very underrated rivalry. People don't understand. I know it gets all the credit in the world for basketball and what it means in the hardwood, and I get that. But this rivalry gets heated in football too, no doubt. I just think Louisville, again, they're at a different place than you. I think they're at a completely different place than you. As a program, I like Louisville to win the football game. And that finishes you up, guys, at 3-9 overall, 0-8 in the SEC. And my simple question is this. Not even is this good enough, because it's not. It'd be a terrible season. My question is, how could Kentucky keep Mark Stoops after a season like this? And guys, even if it's not 3-9, if it's 4-8, right? They are going to be they are going to take the brunt of the punishment, if you will, when it comes to, somebody's got to lose football games. Somebody has to lose football games. Bottom line, right? And I just think Kentucky drew the short straw with the personnel they have and what they have in place. Yeah, I think the Cats are in for a very, very long season. And like I said, I don't think you could bring Mark Stoops back, especially if you go winless in SEC play. Most, I think, didn't want him back. This year, it's like dying a slow and painful death. I think Kentucky will be forced to make a change after the season and move on and go a different direction with the program. But again, guys, do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Would love to hear your thoughts. What is your record prediction for the Kentucky Wildcats in the 2025 college football season? Guys, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Guys, on Tuesday, August 26th, it's FanDuel Futures Day, a new holiday for football fans. It's 24 hours of deals on all your football season predictions. So take a flyer on the MVP race, whether you think it's going to be Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Crown your champion in August. Maybe it's the Eagles, it's the Chiefs, it's the Packers, it's the Bills, whoever it might be, or parlay your division winner dark horses. Mark your calendars. This is your day for your hunches, your hot takes, your calls, and your odds. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. And make sure, guys, when you sign up, head over to FanDuel.com/SECU to do so. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. FanDuel, play your game. Guys, once again, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications. Check us out via podcast, where we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. Till next time, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we will catch you all on the other side.